morning, students. Today topic is forfeiting. Let's see what is the meaning of forfeiting. The forfeiting owns its origin from French. The term forfeit, which means a forfeit or surrender one's right on something to someone else. So here forfeit is nothing but what if is not able to do anything in the business, so what they do, they forfeit the business to some other person. So exact meaning of forfeit is what? Surrendering someone rights to someone else to do something. So that is the meaning of forfeiting. A forfeiting is a mechanism of financing export, that is by discounting export receivables, evidenced by bills of exchange or promissory note. Evidence by bill of exchange, so whenever they are making an agreement, or when they are transferring, or when they are surrendering their business to someone else, so first they'll ask some proofs, or they'll ask a document. So first thing they'll ask is discounting export receivables. So whatever the receivables they'll be having for the particular business, that things they have to submit. And the next one is evidence by bill of exchange or promissory note. So they have to write a promissory note. So in that promissory note, everything will be mentioned clearly. So when they are going to surrender, or for how many days or how many months or how many years they are going to surrender that particular business, so everything that will be mentioned in the promissory note. Without resource to the seller. So here without resource to the seller means what? He need to give the clear picture of the business, and he need to mention everything clearly to the seller. So without the proper information, he cannot surrender his business. Carry medium to long term maturities. Here they are going to convert that medium term into the long term. So that is the meaning of what? Surrendering. So from medium term to long term, they are converting the business. So in the long term, if they are not able to run the business, they are going to forfeit the business to some other persons who can able to do it. So that is the meaning of that. On fixed rate basis of up to 100% of contract value. So here fixed rate is 100%, so there is no change in that. So whatever the percentage that particular person is going to surrender the business, he need to get 100% of the contract value. So now whenever they are surrendering, the complete value has to take off 100%, and he has to surrender the business. So in this, no installments are there, no half of the amount is paying is there. So 100% contract value he has to pay, then only he can able to get the surrender. Otherwise, till he get the complete contract value, he cannot transfer or cannot surrender that particular business. So these are the things which will be applicable in the forfeiting. It is trade finance extended by a forfeiter to exporter seller of an export sale transaction involving deferred payment terms over a long period at a firm rate of discount. Forfeiting is generally extended for export of, so like it is going to be extended for export of main things of capital goods, commodities and services, where the importer insists on supplier on credit terms. So when these things are imposed by the importer on the supplier on credit terms, so whenever the credit takes place, that time he can extend the export values on capital goods, commodities and services, whatever they are going to render. So these are the things will be included in the forfeiting. And the next, resource to forfeiting usually takes place where the credit is for a longer date maturity. So here the forfeiting will be taken place only when there is a longer date maturity. Credit is for longer period. Suppose like if it is 3 months, if it is 6 months, you cannot forfeit the business. So when it is a long when the business is in longer period, the credit will be in the longer period date maturities, then only he can surrender the business. So that things he has to take care of, and then only he can do that particular things. There is no prohibition for extending the facility where the credits are maturing in period less than 1 year. So if it is less than 1 year, or the credit is maturing before 1 year, he cannot surrender the thing. So it should be a longer period of 1 year, means it is more than 1 year. If the credit is for only more than 1 year, then only he can surrender the business, otherwise he cannot surrender the business. So this is regarding the forfeiting. And here in this forfeiting, there are some parties. So let's see who are the parties are involved in this. So here there are 5 parties in the forfeiting. The first party will be the exporter, The second party will be the importer, and the third one is the exporter bank, and the fourth one is the importer bank, and the third last one is the forfeiter. So here the exporter means the person who's going to export the things, importer means the person who's going to import the things, and the export banks is like in the exporting country, the who is taking care of all the things, that banks will be called as exporter bank. In the importer country, the things will be taken care of, the banks will be known by importer banks. And the last one is the forfeit. The forfeit is nothing but what, to whom we are going to surrender, like the business. Like if I'm not able to run my business in a proper way, then I can surrender my rights to someone else who can do it. So here other person will be called as forfeiter here. So that forfeiter will also include in this. So here total 5 parties are there. Once again I'm repeating: the exporter, the importer, the exporter bank, the importer bank, and the forfeiter. So without these 5 persons, the forfeiting is not complete. So with the help of these 5 persons only, these parties only, the forfeiting can be possible. Without these 5 people or the 5 parties, you cannot do the forfeiting in a proper way. So this is regarding the forfeiting. Let's see the mechanism of the forfeiting. Mechanism in that, the first point will be the export and importer negotiate the proposed export sales contract, then the exporter approaches the forfeiter to ascertain the terms of forfeiting. So now here it will be between the exporter and the importer. Suppose if the exporter is not able to do his business, he want to surrender his particular business to the importer. So now here they are going to give the information regarding that, and the exporter purchases a forfeiter to ascertain the terms of forfeiting. So now here, instead of approaching the importer, the exporter is going to approach the forfeited and forfeit, the ascertain the terms of forfeiting. So he is going to explain about that forfeiting things, and whatever the things are there in the particular business, he is going to explain the forfeiter. If the forfeiter is okay with that, then the next procedure will start here. So now here the exporter is going to approach the forfeiter here in the first point. And the second one, the forfeit collects details about the importer, supply and credit terms, documentation, etc. So here the forfeiter, what he'll do, he's going to take the information regarding about the importer of his, what of the supplies are there of importer, and what of the credit terms are there in that particular business, and what of the documentation things are there in the particular business. Everything will be collected by the forfeiter from the importer. So the next one is forfeiter ascertain the country risk and credit risk involved. So now here the risk, the credit risk and the country risk will be ascertained by the forfeiter instead of the exporter. So now the exporter is going to surrender the particular business to the forfeiter. Then the forfeiter is going to ascertain the country risk and the credit risk. The remaining things, whatever the things are going to happen in that particular business, he is going to take care of all those things. So he is going to ascertain the country risk and the credit risk as a forfeiter. The next one is the forfeiter quotes the discount rates. Now here, after surrendering the business to the forfeiter, now the forfeiter is going to quote the discount rate. So it is his wish that whatever the discount rates he wants to impose, he can have an every right to impose the discount rates here. So now he cannot have any contact, like he cannot take any advice from the exporter after surrender and everything. He can take the decision and he can impose the discount rates, and his wish that whatever the rate he want to fix it, no allocations are there, no restrictions are there for the particular things. The exporter then quote a contract price to the overseas buyers by loading the discount rate, commitment fees, etc. on the sales price of the goods to be exported. Now the exporter then quotes a contract price to overhead buyers by loading the discount rate, commitments, etc. on the sale price of goods to be exported. So whatever the goods are to be exported, or the sale price of the goods to be exported, then the exporter has to quote the price for the particular things. Here the forfeiter is not going to anything, the exporter is going to do the contract price and the sale price of the particular goods here. the exporter and the forfeiter sign a contract. So now here, after taking care of all those things, then here the thing comes, they have to sign the contract, or they have to sign the agreement here. So both the persons have to be included in that. One is the exporter, another one is the forfeiter. Exporter takes place against document guaranteed by the importer bank. So now here, exporter is going to get the guarantee from the importer bank here. So he cannot take the exporter bank's surety or the guarantee. He has to take up opposite party, so that is exporter bank. So importer has to approach the importer bank, and he has to make the guarantee for that particular documentation, what is going to do for the particular business. And the next one is, the exporter discounts the bill with the forfeit, and the letter presents the same to the importer for payment on due date on, or even sell it secondary market. So now here, after making the agreement, now he is going to ask the importer to mention the payment due date, and then he has to make the payment before the due date. So all those things will be included in the mechanism. So with this, we have completed the mechanism topic, and the next one is documentation. How the documentation will take place in the forfeiting, let's see now. Forfeiting transaction is usually covered either by promissory note or bill of exchange. So now I told you, for the documentation, the main two things are required, that is bill of exchange and the promissory note. With the help of this promissory note, the details will be there in the particular things. So what is the contract period and how much amount they have to pay, everything will be included in the promissory note. So it is a proof that they have transferred their business to some other person. So with the help of this only, with the help of the promissory note, with the help of bill of exchange, the documentation is possible. Transactions are guaranteed by the bank. So whatever the transaction that exporter is having, that things should be guaranteed by the bank. So importer bank has to give the guarantee for their transactions, whether the transactions are in a proper way or not, whether they are true or not, whether they are genuine or not, everything will be given by the importer bank. So the first thing you have to take care about the promissory note and the bill of exchange, and second one is guarantee will be taken by the importer bank. A bill of exchange may be availed by the importer's bank. So the bill of exchange will be availed by the importer bank, not by the exporter bank. So here, for the exporter, the importer bank will give, for the importer, the exporter bank will give. So it is opposite case in both the things. Then they can do the documentation in the proper way for the forfeiting. So this is regarding the forfeiting, the mechanism, and the documentation. Next, cost of forfeiting. Cost of forfeiting transactions, typically three cost elements. There are three things will be there, that is commitment fees, discount fees, documentation fees. Commitment fees is nothing but what, before making the commitment or before making the contract, this person has to make the payable by the exporter to the forfeiter for letter commitment to the execute a specific forfeiting transaction at a firm discount rate with a specified time. So commitment fees is nothing but what, the importer has to make the payment to the forfeiter before going for the commitment, like before making the contract or before making the agreement. When they are making a commitment, he need to pay some amount to the forfeiter here, then only he can able to do the cost of forfeiting. The first thing he has to do it, commitment fees, and the next one is discount fees, interest payable by the exporter for the entire period of credit involved, and the reduced deducted by the forfeiter from the amount paid to the exporter against the availed promissory note or bill of exchange. So discount fees, that interest will be payable by the exporter to the forfeiter here. So now the exporter will be responsible for the making the interest payment, and this interest payment, if it's going to take in advance later period, that amount will be given to the exporter again by the forfeiter. So the first one is commitment fees, and the second one is discount fees, and the third one is documentation fees. So whatever the documentation fees is there, that will be paid by the exporter only. So whatever the things are involved in this, and whatever the documents is going to produce to that importer bank, for everything he need to make the payment for documentation fees. So this documentation fees will be made by the exporter, not by the forfeiture. So this is regarding the cost of forfeiting. The next topic I'm going to continue in the next video.